Good morning, America. What you're about to hear is not just another missing child case. It's a story that pierces the soul, a story that should haunt every single one of us who calls ourselves human. 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro was reported missing. His family said he disappeared during a football event, a day that was supposed to be filled with joy, laughter, and the innocence of childhood. But as investigators dug deeper, a horrifying truth began to unravel. A truth so dark, it shakes the very foundation of what we believe a family should be. Because the evidence now suggests Emmanuel was never missing at all. He was already gone. Dead before the world was even told he had vanished. And the worst part? The very man who was supposed to protect him, to guard his life with his own, has now confessed to taking it. His own father, Rebecca Haro. But this story is not just about Emmanuel. Behind that house, behind those walls, there are still 6 innocent children. Children who are not safe, children who have already suffered abuse, children who could be the next victims if we stay silent. So this morning, I ask you, don't just listen. Don't just shake your head in sadness. Ask yourself, how many children must suffer before we say enough is enough? Ladies and gentlemen, America is waking up to a chilling truth. A truth that shakes not just one family in Moreno Valley, California, but every parent, every neighbor, every community that believes children are safe under the roof of those who gave them life. Baby Emmanuel Haro, just 2 years old, innocent, fragile, with his whole life ahead of him, was first reported missing. His parents told the world a story, that their little boy vanished during a family outing at a football event. The image is haunting. A busy field, families gathered, children playing, and in the middle of all that, a tiny child gone without a trace. That is the story we were told. That is the story that spread across headlines and social media. But beneath that story lies a nightmare far darker. Because the deeper investigators dug, the more the evidence began to suggest something unthinkable. That Emmanuel was never missing at all. That this little boy was already dead before the world even knew to search for him. And if that is true, then the very people who should have protected him may have been the ones who silenced his voice forever. This is not just a story about a child who disappeared. This is the story of a family shrouded in lies, of a father with a violent past, and of a community now demanding answers. Because tonight, the question is no longer, where is Emmanuel? The question is, what really happened to him? At first, the Haro parents wanted us to believe Emmanuel vanished at a football event. They painted a scene of chaos, 6 children in tow, a crowded field, and somehow, in all of that noise, their 2-year-old just disappeared. But detectives and neighbors began to ask the questions that any of us would ask. If Emmanuel was truly at that event, where are the witnesses? Dozens of families were there. Cameras were rolling. Children were running everywhere. Someone should have seen a toddler with his parents. Someone should have seen him being carried away, but no one did, not a single soul. If a child was kidnapped from such a public space, why wasn't there immediate panic? Instead, the parents seemed almost too calm. No screaming, no desperate pleading, no chaos you'd expect from a mother whose baby just vanished in front of her eyes. And then, the most haunting question of all, what if Emmanuel never even made it to that football field? Because while the story of the football outing was convenient, it also provided something else. An alibi, a cover, a distraction, a way to shift the search away from their home and away from the truth. And when investigators pressed harder, another disturbing detail emerged. Rebecca Haro, the father, could not clearly account for his whereabouts in those crucial early hours. While neighbors searched, while authorities called for help, Jake was simply gone, absent, silent, nowhere to be found. That absence, combined with a story full of holes, raises the possibility that Emmanuel never left the Haro home alive. That instead of being taken from a football field, he was already gone before anyone even started looking. And that changes everything. When you strip away the lies, the cover stories, and the carefully crafted alibis, you're left with one chilling truth. Jake Haro has always been a monster. This is not a man with a clean slate. His past speaks for itself, a history of violence, of criminal behavior, of cruelty that no child should ever endure. Records reveal that Jake Haro has been linked to illegal weapons charges. Even worse, he has a known pattern of child abuse. This is not speculation. This is documented. Years ago, one of his own daughters, just a fragile 10-week-old baby at the time, suffered abuse so severe under Jake's care that she was left disabled for life. Disabled. A baby who should have been protected, loved, nurtured, instead condemned to a lifetime of pain because of the very man who was supposed to protect her. And yet, despite this horrifying history, Jake remained in that home with more children under his roof, more innocent lives at risk. Then came the day Emmanuel vanished, and on that same day, almost as if to repeat history, another one of Jake's children, just 2 years old, was reportedly abused inside that house. While the parents told the world Emmanuel had vanished at a football event, another baby in their care was suffering behind closed doors. Think about that. 6 children supposedly at the football field, but a child was abused in their own home at that very same time. The story doesn't add up. It never did. So the question becomes, what are the Haros hiding? How can a father with this kind of record, a father already proven to hurt his own babies, be trusted with Emmanuel's fate? It is no longer just about a missing child. It is about a man with a history of violence, a house filled with silence and secrets, and a mother who stood by, saying nothing, doing nothing, while her children suffered. This is not just negligence. This is not just a tragedy. This is a pattern. And in the center of it is Jake Haro. As investigators dig deeper, one fact becomes clearer by the hour. The Haro parents, Jake and Rebecca, have been lying from the very beginning. They told the world that baby Emmanuel disappeared during a football event, but no one saw him there. No witness, no coach, no parent has confirmed his presence. Think about that. If a 7-month-old baby was truly brought to such a public gathering, wouldn't at least one person remember who carried him or who left with him? Instead, evidence points back to the Haro home. That same day, another child in the house, just 2 years old, was abused. This was not the first time. Court records already confirm that Jake Haro has a violent history: child abuse, illegal weapons, criminal behavior. One of his own daughters was abused as a newborn and now lives permanently disabled. So where was Jake on the morning Emmanuel vanished? He was nowhere to be found, not at the football field, not at home, missing for hours, while his wife Rebecca repeated the lie of a disappearance. Could it be that Emmanuel was never missing at all, that he was already dead, and the so-called football event was just the cover story while Jake disposed of his body? The pieces connect like a puzzle no one wanted to face. A monster father with a record of violence, a mother who covered his tracks, and a baby silenced before he could even cry for help. But here is the chilling reality. Rebecca and Jake Haro were granted bail. They are walking free today. And inside their home remain 6 other children, forced to sleep under the same roof as the man accused of killing their baby brother, the same man who has already abused them before. Do you really believe those children are safe tonight? Do you want to wait until another child is crippled, abused, or murdered before action is taken? If Emmanuel's voice has been silenced, who will speak for him? That is why I am asking you, subscribe to this channel, share this story everywhere, comment below, and let your voice rise where Emmanuel's was stolen. The system has failed him, but together we can make sure it does not fail the rest. Because this is no longer only about Emmanuel. It is about saving the 6 children still living in fear of a monster father. And we end with one cry the whole world must hear. Justice for Emmanuel. Justice for the 6 children.